So I decided to start searching other religions. I went back to Judaism, I studied Judaism. I found the same thing that Jesus taught about two spiritual Jews that leave the law, and Jews that were so caught up in the law that they left no room for spirituality. I studied Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Confucianism, Wiccan, Bushido. You know, everything I could get my hands on, every type of ism or religion, I studied it. But there was one litmus test that I used for every religion. And whenever I met them, or the people or whatever about this religion, I would always ask them, do you have a book? Do you have a book? Because another thing I had come to the conclusion of is that if your religion is true, you should be able to tangibly hand me something and show me that this religion is true. Give me something that I can see. I don't want to hear that faith stuff anymore. I heard that all my life, and look where it got me. It got me thinking I'm driving a Mercedes running around in a 1982 beat-up Datsun. I said, no, you have to show me. And so I read the Bhagavad Gita, I read the Torah, I read the scrolls of Tao, you know, I read the code of the Bushido, I read the Wiccan book of spirits and spells and all that other magic stuff they have. And I read all of these things, and I found something very congruent with all of it, was that there were very same philosophies and teachings in all of these major religious books. They all talked about God and His nature. Most of them alluded to the fact that God is one, and that God sends messengers to us and people to us to teach us. But they were filled with a whole bunch of garbage, to be honest with you, that I couldn't logically, rationally believe. So at about the age of 17, just about the time, about 17 and a half, I gave up my search for God. And I became kind of angry with God, because I said, here I am looking for you, and I can't find you, and it doesn't look like you're giving me any help. And I don't know how many of you know, but for a 17-year-old that is frustrated with God and the world, there's a lot of trouble he can get into. There's a lot of things he can do to put himself in predicaments when he's frustrated with the world and had come to the conception that, you know, if there's a God that exists, then He doesn't really care about me. You know, that's a kind of a dangerous young man. So I started doing the whole partying in trouble, going to parties, drinking underage, all of this stuff I started doing. You know, I'm a perfectionist at heart. So when I was a Christian, I tried to be the best one I could. If I was going to switch to being any other religion, then I was going to do that 100%. So you better believe when I went after the dunya, I did that 100%. And you know, I was a martial artist since I was 15 years old, and even though it was only 2 years, you know, 2 years at 17, you think, you know, you're Bruce Lee. So I got into a lot of fights. Got kicked out of school, had to go to another school, got in one fight, got arrested for a fight, you know, and there were a couple incidences that stopped this downward spiral, because I was on a very, very quick downward spiral that would, and I believe if I would have continued on that downward spiral, I would probably end up hurting someone, killing someone, or them hurting or killing me.